Well, before we get on to that Langata land saga, let's get on to another saga. This time it's about a body after the DNA results from the government chemist confirmed that the body at Moi Teaching and Referral Mortuary belongs to Yusuf Hussein. Meshak Yebe's family have contested those results, maintaining that the body belongs to their kin.
The latest development comes even as Yusuf's family arrived at the morgue to collect the body, despite a court injunction preventing anyone from picking up the body until investigations are concluded.
Masikandi with that story from Eldoret.
That took 3 hours, one that this family, Yebe's family, couldn't just comprehend. The much-awaited DNA results revealing that the body discovered at River Yala late last year was not that of their kin.
Identification of the body has been that of Yusuf Hussein, which is 99.9%.
The DNA report that CID say is final, giving a go-ahead to Yusuf's family to take the body that was at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital mortuary for burial in Eldoret. Yebe's family, however, had taken a court injunction yesterday to stop the hospital from releasing the body. They say they are waiting for DNA results from a separate test in South Africa.
Our results haijatoka from South Africa. Tunangojea anytime. Inatoka anytime.
Huyu ni Meshak. Na kama abana Meshak, ni Meshak iko wapi? Nani naletia sisi Meshak? Kama ni Yusuf, basi ni sisi nataka Meshak.
The home of Yebe in Kaptebe village, Uasin Gishu County, now putting their focus on finding their kin, arguing that the physical identification done by Yusuf's family was a copy of the information they gave at the morgue.
Hata wewe mwenyewe ukimuona, unajua kuna difference ya Oria na the normal person. Hiyo nywele ya Oria it's somehow soft. Wenyewe walisema ati kuna jino ilikuwa imefunjika. Lakini sisi ndio tulisema, the first people wenye tulisema ni tuliona hiyo jino ilikuwa imefunjika.
Naangalia hapa na kidole hii. Sana meno ya chini hapa.
Despite the strong opinion here, back in Eldoret, Yusuf's family continued with the burial in line with their Islamic religion, burying the body in the evening, just after receiving the body from the morgue.
Sisi hatuna ubaya na mtu yote. Yeye aliuawa, hatuna kesi na mtu yote. Mwenye amemuua Mungu ndio atajua vile atamlipisha.
Yebe's mother gets into deep thoughts. The 3 hours with the CID officials offering no peace, just more questions.
Itabidi tu tuendelee na kesi. Kama ni kuenda kuchukua mwili baadaye from after kuzika.
The CID say they have commenced further investigations. The body that was discovered in River Yala on the 28th last year was alleged to have belonged to supposed ICC witness Meshak Yebe, only for a biometric result last week to reveal that it belongs to a Kapsabet Matatu tout, Hussein Yusuf, who had gone missing on the 25th of December 2014. Even with the DNA results being 99.9% accurate according to CID officials, and the body now belonging to Yusuf Hussein, the family of Meshak Yebe say they are still awaiting for their final results, their DNA results from South Africa. According to them, they are sure that the body belongs to their kin, Meshak Yebe. Masikandie, KTN, Kaptebe Village, Uasin Gishu County.
Still no answers for Yebe's family. But now let's go to that Langata land saga. Lands Cabinet Secretary Charity Ngilu has today named the directors behind Airport View Housing Limited, which is the company that allegedly claims ownership of Langata Road Primary School's playground.
And as the Linda Ogutu now reports, the naming of the directors has raised more questions in the minds of Kenyans on just how the company got a title deed for the public land.
Why didn't the Lands Ministry, why didn't the National Land Commission? We have been reading and hearing about this whole issue since December of last year. Why did they not take the necessary action. And this is something that they must account more than even the police officers, because they are the ones who should have taken the necessary action to come and tell us yesterday that the school belongs to the land. Why didn't you tell us that before and do the necessary paperwork? So those two in the respective ministries will also be held to account.
Concerns that perhaps jolted the Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Charity Ngilu, to peruse through her Lands Ministry documents and name the directors behind Airport View Housing Limited, the company that claims ownership of Langata Road Primary School's playground.
Mandeep Singh Amrit, he's a director. Number 2, Majid Singh Amrit, director, and he has the same box number. The 4th director is Kamau Prakash Amrit, and he's also a director, same box number, and he has 1,000 shares.
Ngilu says the 4 who are the directors of the company as at October 31st, 2013 will be investigated by the Criminal Investigation Department and could be prosecuted by the Director of Public Prosecutions. They are not the only ones who could be facing the corridors of justice.
Any public land will go back to the public.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is awaiting the preliminary investigations report from the Ministry of Lands and the National Land Commission so as to commence investigations into the playground grabbing scandal that led to the protest by pupils at Langata Road Primary School. ESCC hopes to establish the real grabbers. With the scandal now heading to the Integrity Center, Kenyans can hope that by the end of the investigations, the country will get to know who issued the company with the title deed that allowed them to claim ownership of public land. And just how the company got permits from the Nairobi City Council to erect a wall on public land. And the president is not taking chances.
Mimi nimeamuru ya kwamba mimi nataka shule zote za Nairobi zikuje na shule ipatiwe title deed, board of governors ya shule iwe ndio itakuwa inalinda mali yake bila shida. Tuhakikishe ya kwamba mali ya umma au mali ya wananchi, public land, ilindwe na irudishiwe wananchi.
Controversies over grabbed land have often proved too tricky for the government, with proxy land-buying companies hiding the names of the specific landowners or grabbers. Linda Ogutu, KTN Prime.
There has been a lot of comments going around the internet on this particular issue, and most of it is of comical relief. But let's get your comment on the naming of directors of the company allegedly claiming the Langata school land. What is your comment on the naming of directors in the company allegedly claiming the Langata school land? It's not a yes or no question tonight.
That's right. Now, this is something Kenyans have been clamoring for since this saga began. They wanted to know the names. Well, now the names have been given, and we'd like to get your comments on that. You can do that by tweeting us at KTN Kenya or at Kachingira at Wilson_Mburu. You can also send an SMS to 22155. And we look forward to hearing what you have to say on this matter. Now, the media owners will institute a legal challenge against the withdrawal of their frequencies and the temporary self-provisioning license by the Communications Authority of Kenya.
Now, the media owners termed the move by the Communications Authority an affront to media freedom.
The announcement by the Communications Authority of Kenya came as a surprise, as the license and the frequencies had only been awarded to the media owners less than a month ago.
The withdrawal of the temporary authorization granted to the consortium by the 3 media houses under the consortium identified as African Digital Network. Subsequently, the authority shall repossess the frequency spectrum resources allocated to them with immediate effect.
The authority has accused the 3 media houses of running an advertisement that it says is misleading.
This is a regulator where, because we are arguing with 2 foreign-owned paid television stations, the guy decides at the stroke of the pen to decide that he's going to write off our investment of 40 billion shillings. It doesn't give a damn. This is also a regulator who is saying that all the money we have now committed to import this set of boxes, to import the transmitters, to import the antenna, to import all the other things that are needed to set up the digital migration infrastructure can go to waste. Why? Because you guys are fighting with 2 foreign-owned TV companies. And this guy is on the side of the foreigner.
Contrary to the claims by the Communications Authority of Kenya, there is only one channel that falls under the must-carry principle, and that is the public broadcaster KBC. A clarification in form of a letter signed by authorities Mutua Muthusi on behalf of the Director General stated that pay TV channels have been instructed that they must obtain consent to air material from the content providers.
We really would not want to be in areas of confrontation with the regulator and with any other agency. But we want that justice be done, and we are hoping that in time the action that the Communication Authority has undertaken will be reversed by the authority itself. We are asking the authority to do the right thing. It is completely unconscionable to cancel or revoke license of local media and to the advantage of foreign entities.
It is a very bad picture to any investor who may want to come that an investor and investors who have been in the country for so many years and who are actually part of the population of this country and who are citizens of this country can have their licenses removed, withdrawn without any notice, without any due process, without any explanation.
Further, the media owner's set-top box will be superior in that it will come with free Wi-Fi, 3 GB, and also a credit facility payable in 12 months. The media owners expressed surprise at the authorities' concerted efforts to protect foreign pay TV channels at the expense of local businesses that provide free-to-air content. Instead, the Communications Authority of Kenya is seen to issue an unspoken threat, that is, toe the line or else. We have committed up to 1 billion shillings in this venture.
There are 52 digital sites in the country. 56, yes. And the 3 media houses are saying, give us one frequency at each of these sites so that we are able to broadcast nationally. Because you don't want to have a broadcasting house that is not reaching some of the counties in the 47 counties.
The fight for frequencies, the fight for digital space by the 3 media houses is a fight for the right of Kenyans to access information.
We would have wished for more honesty from the Communications Authority of Kenya. The CAK has done a major disservice to this country by emerging not as an independent arbitrator, but as a partisan defender of special interests.
We are prepared for the long haul. Nobody is going to work or wish away the work of the journalists who take time and risk their lives to go to Capedo to get content and air the same content without compensating journalists. It's totally unacceptable, and we are prepared to go up to Paris in the Intellectual Property Court to defend our rights.
The media owners are in the process of importing their set-top boxes, having just received the go-ahead from the Supreme Court last month. Of the authorized digital signal carriers, Chinese-owned Pang has 60% of the available frequencies under star times and can transmit across Kenya. Even government-owned Signet, which is KBC, has only 25.59%. Media owners have only been allocated 9.95% frequencies with limited site locations, which means they cannot transmit in all parts of the country.
Nowhere in the world, and I want to repeat again, that a foreign company comes into another country and we're talking about national resources. We're talking about frequencies that are allocated to every country by the International Telecommunication Union. And 60% or 61% of those frequencies are handed over to a foreign company. For what purposes? To carry out television business, to charge Kenyans who have always enjoyed free television. And we are saying it's not right that frequencies that are meant to be used for wananchi. We should be talking about frequencies being available for counties.
You are trying to say that the stories, the stories that our people continue hearing will be tailored to the interests of a foreign media.
Catherine Omwando, KTN.
Let's go to education matters now, and the Form 1 selection exercise has triggered an intense debate and acrimony among parents and teachers. Many 2014 KCP candidates who scored very highly in KCP exams have been shocked to get confirmation that they have been admitted to secondary schools several ranks lower than they had expected. As Victor Ogale now reports from Kisumu County, some who had expected to go to national schools have found themselves listed for district schools.
They should have just been fair, because I believe there are no private kids. We're all pupils. We're all children of Kenya. There are no private children. There are no public children.
Billy Otieno, who lives with his family in Kisumu Zubunga Estate, is among the thousands of students who sat their Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination in 2014. Due to the fact he sat the exams at a private school, he may miss out on joining a national school. According to Billy, this move is discriminatory and demoralizing.
I need help and connection to go to another school, because my parent, my father, my mother, they think all this work I've put in, this effort, I don't deserve to go to that school. I deserved something better.
Baba ya mtoto naye alisema ati yeye vile anaona kama mtoto hawezi pata shule mzuri, Onjiko naye hawezi, amesha struggle sana. Yeye ni asla ame-struggle, mtoto asome. Sasa in return anapata nothing.
Give the public schools electricity like they want to, give them the laptops, give them all that to bring up. I know they want to make everything level, yeah? Do that, but don't discriminate for us who have given these children an opportunity to do their exams.
The Kenya Private Schools Association has maintained that they would not accept the recent government-imposed directive. In Taita Taveta County, Joseph Mwambingu, who sat his KCP exam at Mosuma Primary, a public school in Mwatate district, got 375 marks and has been selected to join Kenyatta High School, which is a national school.
Anaona hivyo vision yangu yani itatimia ya kuwa pilot. Ani difurahi ndipo pata majibu.
Kama hii Mosuma Primary kuna watoto karibu 4 wanaenda national school. Hapo kwa Mnengwa pia kuna mtoto anaenda national school. Wanashindana kitaifa na wao wakiwa katika mazingira ya dhiki sana ya shida.
The 2015 Form 1 selection was launched Tuesday morning by Education Cabinet Secretary Professor Jacob Kaimenyi.
This is 0 degrees.
The government has insisted that despite the clear learning advantages enjoyed by candidates from private primary schools, they will not have an upper hand in Form 1 places to the disadvantage of their counterparts from public primary schools. Victor Ogale, KTN.
Faced with a choice between a 56-kilometer road trip and 35 meters across the river Nzoia, many locals from Kakamega and Bungoma would rather take the risk of crossing the Nzoia. But here's the twist. They're not crossing over a bridge or using a ferry or even boats. The mode of transport, believe it or not, is an inflated tire tube. Take a look.
After this visit, there will be a memory that these children may never forget. In the remote nerve of Western Kenya, 2 counties, Bungoma and Kakamega, gaze at each other on the opposite sides of the river Nzoia. There once was a bridge here, but it was destroyed by warring communities during the 2007-2008 post-election violence. It is yet to be replaced. Women and children would use stones to cross the river. Many would fall and drown. And this is what caused 132-year-old Patrick Wafula to come up with a rather unique ferry, an inflated tire tube. Depending on the labor, it would cost 50 to 100 shillings.
Sometimes pressure.
The danger of relying on the tire to cross the river is something school children and parents know too well. When the heavy rains come, the current will be strong and it will take a lot of courage to cross. Some children would rather stay at home. Florence Mbusia's journey is about to begin. She is heading to Mautuma. Today, she's with her son. He has to go to school on the other side. Ideally, it would be 56 kilometers by road. Why take the risk?
Kupita Tarubu ama kupita Naitiri ni pesa nyingi sana. Sasa inatupiti tu kama hakuna mvua kama saa hii maji ni kitoko tunapita ndani.
Journey ends safely. Sometimes it's a different story for many others who have to cross like this daily. The river has its surprises and dangers lacking within. There is a saying from the dominant community in this area: you only make a bridge where there is a river. But how long will it take for the residents to see a bridge over the river between? But for now, the tire will keep ferrying them to the other side. Dorcas Wangira, KTN, Kakamega.
Now, a father has been reunited with his 14-year-old son who was kidnapped at their family home in Juja town on Monday. The boy, who was ambushed by 5 men, had been brought to Nairobi's Dandora estate as the alleged kidnappers demanded 3 million shillings from the father. This and more in our news wrap next.
A family in Kiambu County can now rest easy after police helped rescue a 14-year-old boy from the hands of kidnappers. The kidnappers were demanding 3 million shillings from the family in exchange for his return. The boy went missing Monday evening after being bundled into a saloon car by 5 unknown individuals. According to the boy, the kidnappers took him to Parklands and then proceeded to Dandora. It took the intervention of the Ruiru Police Department to capture the individuals and reunite the boy with his family.
Received a call, and the person calling asked me, "How are you, Mr. Joroge? Do you have your son? Is your son home?" And then I told him no. "Are you looking for him?" Of course, I told him yes. "Have you gone to police station?" Kamwambia sijaenda. I told him I've not gone. So he told me, "Don't try. Usijaribu hata kidogo kwenda police. Don't go. Don't try. So I have your son here with me, and I want 3 million."
And in Meru County, 2 sisters are fighting for their lives at the Meru hospital after they were attacked by a former husband of one of the ladies. The man, identified as Silas Gituma, found the 2 ladies plucking tea at a farm near their home and began cutting them with a machete. The man was later stoned to death by an angry mob that responded to distress calls sounded by the 2 sisters.
Tulikuwa tunajua kama akona panga, ndio alianza kukatakata yule wenye tulikuwa nao wakatoroka. Venye mimi nilijaribu kumwambia asimkate tena, ndio alinikata hivi.
Timothy Otieno, KTN.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Prime. Now, ODM's newly appointed chairman, John Mbadi, says the running of the affairs of ODM will change drastically with the crop of youthful leaders at Orange House.
Now, speaking to KTN's Aaron Ocheng, Mbadi says that the botched national elections of last year tainted the image of the party, and new structures will be put in place to ensure that internal democracy in the party is restored.
I don't know if it's late, but I would wish to congratulate you on your post as the chairman of ODM. You're a new crop of young ODM leaders who have just assumed office. Maybe you could start by telling us how differently are you going to run the affairs of ODM?
We must make a difference. One of the things that has been talked about a lot concerning ODM is the secretariat. We are prepared and ready to revamp and restructure the secretariat to be responsive enough and to take up to challenges that face a vibrant and party with such huge or large membership in the country, and a party that I think can pride itself as the only party with the connections almost everywhere in this country.
Let me take you a little bit behind how you were elected, the process. Yes. I don't know if you are elected or you are nominated, you are appointed, but there has been controversy on how the current crop of leaders who are occupying orange offices, you, Ababu Namwamba and the rest, how fair was that process? Because there are squabbles inside ODM as to how that process was conducted.
We realized there was too much division in the party. Now, what happened is National Governing Council met immediately thereafter, I think a day after or a few days after, at Orange House, and we agreed that the National Governing Council therefore mandated that the party leader, who was legally still in the office, together with the few members of NEC, because you'll remember You recall that there were some people who were elected unopposed, and then there are some constitutional officers, like the parliamentary group secretary is a constitutional office in the party. It is the chief whip and all that. So these members were tasked, together with the party leader, to look for ways of harmonizing the two groups, because it was evident when we were at Kasarani that there were two groups, and the National Governing Council deliberated and agreed that that division was not healthy for the party. And therefore, the party leader, together with the interim NEC, was mandated to go ahead and harmonize the two groups.
ODM has been accused of giving direct nominations, and that puts to question the internal democracy in ODM.
Let me put it that a lot of Kenyans have been very unfair to ODM. The only time I can remember that ODM has given, I know there are cases where ODM has given direct nomination in the past, and so are other political parties, without acrimony. I know where now ODM is being accused of giving direct nomination is Homabay Senate seat. This is where we've had acrimony. In fact, in the past, the acrimony has been that we have conducted election which has left some people dissatisfied. Note that we have not been conducting elections. ODM is probably the only party that has been conducting primaries with problems, yes, and we admit, and that is why we want to improve our nomination procedures, nomination rules and processes.
But obviously, Mbadi, it has given the party a wrong image, because you cannot deny that the party, there's a fallout in the party, because some of the candidates who are vying on ODM, who wanted the nomination ticket for ODM, have gone to other parties, and they are busy campaigning against ODM.
If I am lying, I would want to hear any of those candidates who will stand in front of a camera and tell Kenyans that he did not agree to direct nomination. And if he did not, if they all agreed to direct nomination, then where did we go wrong? I hear people talking about we agreed on some way of getting that candidate, that person should have been very loyal to the party, having supported the party for so long. Let me ask you, in terms of that subjectivity, how would you judge that we made a wrong decision?
Let's talk about Kajiado Central by-election. And Jubilee is saying, "Code, forget about Kajiado Central. We are taking that seat from you."
Unless they're planning to rig, then they could tell us to forget it. If it is an election, they cannot tell us to forget it. It's a campaign. The Kajiado Central was our seat. The membership, the people who voted for Ntaiseri on ODM are still living in Kajiado, even if some have passed on, but the majority of the voters are still the same. So no one can come and tell us that we should keep off or forget about Kajiado. It's going to be a battle. And let me tell you, in any battle, people will come chest thumping. But what we are waiting to see, the outcome. What is important is what IBC will declare.
All right.
So this will come out when?
A very good evening and welcome to KTN Business. You're just in time for the day's business news. My name is Abi Agina. Kenya is looking to boost her efforts by fast-tracking the upgrading of the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to attain world standards to allow for local airlines to make direct flights to the United States of America and other markets as well. Kenyan business leaders, while meeting a delegation from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, discussed various trade opportunities that the two countries can be able to venture into, even as Kenya seeks to grow her exports in the international market.
The need to bridge the huge continental trade imbalance with the global market is pushing African economies to review their alliances with key trade partners in light of shifting trade patterns.
We are still not as big trading partners with America. It's about 0.3% of what America imports. That's what Africa does with America.
Among the countries Kenya is eyeing to more than double her exports to is the United States of America. Currently, Kenya exports goods worth about 29 billion shillings to the US, while importing twice the amount from America. Figures for 2013 show that Kenya imported goods worth about 57 billion shillings from the US, a clear indication of the huge trade imbalance.
We don't have enough cargo going to and fro. If you look at China today, you get a container at close to $600, $700.
The push for Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to be upgraded to Category 1 status by the Federal Aviation Authority could open up massive economic benefits for Kenya's export market.
We start getting direct flights, we can set our horticulture, floriculture straight into American markets. That will make it competitive. Then allow some free air to come in for charter flights. It will be much, much more better.
Currently, Kenyan airlines do not fly directly to the United States, thus making Kenyan goods uncompetitive owing to the high air freight costs. Kenya will also be banking on growing her exports through the existing Africa Growth Opportunity Act, AGOA, which will in a few weeks be under review in the US Congress.
The problem right now is logistics. Logistics means our cost of transportation from Kenya to US would be very expensive in terms of containers. A 20-foot container or a 40-foot container would cost you around $3,000 to $4,000.
The prevailing inefficiencies at the port of Mombasa continue to make Kenyan goods uncompetitive compared to other countries in the continent. For now, Kenyan exporters will continue to pay slightly more to have their goods shipped despite the growing global demand for goods from emerging markets.
Well, moving on, the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is set to get a much-needed runway upgrade as part of modernization works at the airport. The Kenya Airports Authority has announced that starting April, it will be partially closing down the runway to facilitate the expansion and rehabilitation works. According to KAA, the works will be conducted from midnight to 6 a.m., adding that it had already had discussions with all airlines operating at JKIA. JKIA was built in 1978 and last had its runway tarmacked in 1992, underlying the need for an upgrade. The airport was originally designed to handle 2.5 billion passengers annually, but has since stretched to the limit with over 6 million passengers passing through the airport. The Airport Authority has, however, been working towards modernizing the airport's infrastructure and turning JKIA into an international hub. Also in the offing is the construction of a 5.5-kilometer runway to handle larger flights and increase the number of aircrafts handled. Moving on, bar and pub owners are locked in a tussle with Mombasa County government over the enactment of a new liquor licensing of the county government. The Mombasa bar owners are protesting the new bill that seeks to limit the hours operating bars at the coastal town, arguing that it will impact their businesses. According to the Mombasa Bar Owners Association, the group was never consulted by the county government, arguing that the bill as is could run them out of business. The bar owners feel further aggrieved by the fact that the new limits to operating hours could turn away hordes of tourists. The Mombasa County government is, however, having none of that. Mombasa Tourism Executive Job Tumbo says the new bill only seeks to harmonize bar operations in Mombasa with a view to controlling alcohol sales.
Ile walitupatia twende through na tutoe maoni yetu, na wakasema wameleta bill experts wa combine kile tuliongea, maoni yetu na maoni yao, watuletee bill mbele waipitishe, wakuje back to us as per section 10 of the constitution where consultation has to be taken into account. Lakini juzi kwa gazeti tulistuka kuona gazeti ilikuwa na heading ya kusema county ya Nakuru na Mombasa watachukua mamilioni kutoka bar owners, na bili inagojea kusainiwa na magavana. Tukashindwa kwa nini kutoka last year tujaitwa, na bili itasainiwa vipi bila consultation?
Now, if someone chooses to call it the Mtuto law or whatever law or the Tumbo law, that's entirely up to them. But the fact is, we had a process, an all-inclusive process.
Interesting developments there from Mombasa County. And now we cross over to Abu Dhabi, where KTN's managing editor Joe Ageo is attending an energy summit that has been taking place for the last 1 week. And they've been discussing quite a lot of issues around clean energy. And the summit is organized by the International Renewable Energy Agency. And now we speak to Joe. Joe, just give us an update of what has been happening through the week at the summit.
Well, thank you very much, Abby. All I can assure you is that the things happening here have not been half as perplexing as some of the things I've had you guys dealing with over there. But I think that this has been an interesting summit in the sense of its timing, because as you rightly mentioned there, it deals a lot with issues of energy, and that was quite important in the sense that there's a whole discussion happening around the world with regard to how to get alternative sources of energy, alternative being alternative to oil. And that has dimensions of climate change, for example. This is a big year for climate change, and later on in the year in Paris, many people hoping that there can be a new deal on how to deal with that. But also it comes at a time, Abby, when there is falling oil prices, and many people wondering, okay, how is this going to affect the search for alternatives to oil? So what came out here clearly, because this is different from many of the UN conferences, for example, that have formal sort of binding action plans that are supposed to be implemented. But I think here many people came to showcase what is there, what is new with regard to these newer sources of energy, the clean sources of energy. And one of the highlights here, I can tell you, has been the fact that the technology around solar energy has grown so much that now there is an economic case, according to many experts, for countries such as Kenya to develop this whole idea of solar energy and put it into the national grid, but also develop what they call off-grids. That means power outside the normal distribution channels. Also geothermal, that Kenya, of course, is investing in heavily, also was a key highlight here. So really, it's just about new ways of ensuring that renewable energy, as it is called, can contribute meaningfully in economies. So it's not just about the environment and all these things, but Abby is beginning to make economic sense as well.
Well, a very good evening and a warm welcome to tonight's edition of KTN Sports. I'm Lane Washira. After a torrid 2014 season, the Kenya Sevens rugby team hopes to turn a new page as they approach the Wellington IRB series in New Zealand. Shujaa, who are under the guidance of Felix Ochieng, will be seeking qualification for the 2016 Rio Olympics, as well as avoid relegation from the IRB World Series.
2014 is 1 year the Kenya rugby fraternity won't forget fast. The Sevens team slumped 14th on the HSBC World Sevens Series, collecting only 11 points on the road from the first 3 meetings. This did not sit well with players and fans alike, as wrangles within the Kenya Rugby Union seemed to interfere with the team's performance, leading to Paul True's resignation. With Felix Ochieng taking over the mantle, the long-time Shujaa tactician hopes to put behind the torrid time the team experienced, as he seeks to light a new flame going into the Wellington Sevens next month.
Obviously, no team wants to be in that position where we're 14th and 15th. So there's obviously a bit of pressure. There are lots of questions that have been asked. But just like in any relationship, it's not good to flirt with the relegation. So with regards to the players, we are actually committed, to giving ourselves the best possible chance of doing well in this particular tournament.
I can't say that we are going to win everything, but what we can promise Kenyans is that we are going to work very hard, because we have set our goals and we know what we want at the tournament. We are going out, we are going to present the country very well, and we are going to do our best.
The challenge ahead is bigger as Kenya seeks qualification for the 2016 Rio Olympics. But coach Felix Ochieng hopes his inclusion of young and experienced players will yield a foothold where Shujaa can propel themselves from the relegation spot to a safe margin.
The Kenya Sevens has nothing to do with age, preferences, characters. We're just looking for the right kind of combinations that we'll be able to use going forward, that will be able to produce a team outcome starting from the first game.
Having a very experienced team going to Vegas, we expect a lot from ourselves as players. We have said we are committed to what we are going to do in the field, and that is getting the results. That is the commitment that we have put as a team.
Kenya has been pulled together with Scotland, Samoa and Argentina in Wellington Sevens, which takes place on the 6th and 7th of February. Robinson Okenye, KTN Sports.
And well, for some time now, the Kenya sports fraternity has been in the international sports body's bad books following massive doping claims among Kenyan athletes. And with an aim to curb this vice, the Ministry for Sports, Arts and Culture is now seeking assistance from China and Norway to set up its own anti-doping body.
For obvious reasons, while anti-doping officials have criticized Kenya for being laxity in monitoring its athletes for doping, that reality seems to have dawned to the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture, who, after a massive taint in the image of the Kenyan athletics, have a triple-rated partnership with Anti-Doping Norway and Chinese National Anti-Doping Agency.
And we are going to have a critical meeting next week on Wednesday between the anti-doping agency in China called Shinada and the doping Norway.
Kenya has never been short of talent, but we've been very short of managers of those talents. And those are the people who are letting down Kenya.
During the Soya Award ceremony, Sports Cabinet Secretary Hassan Wario told Athletics Kenya top brass to resign over the increasing doping scandal in the country. AK top officials who failed to cooperate with the Moni Wekesa-led anti-doping task force have been on the spot for some time now. With the increasing number of cheats, the image of Kenya sports is getting blurry.
We have also seen that Kenya is listed as number 2 in terms of doping issues after Russia.
We are in the doldrums. We really need to pull our socks to get out of the doldrums.
We are not targeting anybody, so it is important that things are ironed out quickly so that we can realize more benefits from sports.
With the 2015 sports calendar being action-packed, many are eager to see an action-oriented sports, arts and culture ministry deliver its many promises. Moses Wahesi, KTN Sports.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us tonight. We had so much feedback. We do appreciate that. And thank you for watching KTN Prime. We hope to see you next time. Our sign language interpreter was William Silla, and I'm Nancy Kachingira. A very good night to you.
Jeff Koinange Live is up next. You know that is Thursday. That means there's a lot of inspiration to gain from that show. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Wilson Mburu. Good night.